sister was his younger sister Bhavatarini. As a young child, he used to always imitate the elders in their religious functions, including dressing the deities, offering the deities food, offering arati, offering ghee lamp, incense stick, and paying obeisances. So that's what he used to imitate his elders doing. And he also watched them do the Rath Yatra. So as a young child, he also wanted a Ratha cart for himself, which his father arranged by repairing an old cart by making columns and canopy on the top, which was resembling the Ratha of Jagannath Puri. So while doing the Ratha Yatra, Abba used to lead the children in chanting the Hare Krishna and singing appropriate Bengali bhajans. When he was 8 years old in 1904, he entered the nearby Motilal Seal Free School, which was at the corner of his road, Harrison and Central Roads. He experienced the rioting of Hindu Muslims when he was very young. In fact, he had to take defensive action when somebody took a knife and was running behind him to kill him. So he ran and somehow reached his home. That's how he was saved. Then something written about his mother was when he was very young, around 16 years of age, his mother passed away. Although he was very young, a lot of responsibilities and worldly responsibilities were on his shoulders. But his father instructed him that there was nothing to lament about. The soul is eternal, and everything happens by the will of Krishna. So he should have faith and depend upon Krishna. That's what his father told him on the passing of his mother. Gaur Mohan Das didn't want his son to go abroad because he didn't want him to get exposed to the corruption of the West. He wanted Abhay to be a pure devotee of Srimati Radharani and Lord Krishna. So after school, he entered college. The college name was Scottish Church College, a Christian school, but it was well reputed among the Bengalis and many Vaishnava families. So this some points you can remember about his childhood. After joining college, he joined college and he was no longer free to perform duties toward Sri Radha and Govinda because college life was demanding. The very deities which he demanded from his father, he could not do any worship to them because of his college work, and because of that, he retired his deities into a closed box. But one night after the first year of college, he had an unusual dream about the deity his father had given him. And the deities in his dream said, "Why have you put me away in this box? You should take me out and worship me again." So Abhay felt sorry and that he had neglected the deities and resumed his worship of Sri Radha and Krishna at home, despite his college work and assignments. So when he was of marriageable age, his father Gaur Mohan thought of getting his son married, and finally he chose Radharani Datta, the daughter of his friend, as his wife. In 1920, Abhay completed his fourth year of college and took the final year BA exam. That's what we learned so far in the last class. We'll continue from here. So I was just going through this book of Prabhupada Lilamrita, and I found some important points which I thought I would like to share with you. This slide will show you about some of the achievements of Srila Prabhupada once he left the country and moved to America. The worldwide fame of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, later known as Srila Prabhupada. I've taken the exact words that is in the book because it makes very good sense. The worldwide fame of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, later known as Srila Prabhupada, was to come after 1965, after he arrived in America. So there are some comparisons what happened before and what happened after, so which are very important to understand. Before leaving India in 1965, he had written 3 books. Whereas in the next 12 years that he was in America, he was to write more than 60 books. So that's what the difference it makes once he had enough time and money to do this. Before he left India, he had initiated one disciple, Prabhakara Misra. But in the next 12 years, he would initiate about 4,000 of them. Before he left India, hardly anyone had believed that he would fulfill his vision of a worldwide society of Krishna devotees. But in the next decade, he would form and maintain the International Society for Krishna Consciousness and open more than 100 centers. That was his achievement. Before sailing to America, he had never left India. He had never been outside India. But in the next 12 years, he would travel many times around the world propagating the Krishna conscious movement. In fact, his disciples said that he moved 14 times around the globe. Although his life contribution may appear to have come in the late burst of revolutionary spiritual achievements, the first 69 years of his life were a preparation for those achievements. And therefore, he could achieve whatever he did after 69 years of age. So we continue from last time where we ended. So Abhay Charan cleared his BA exams and was invited to appear for his diploma. In those days, all the youth they were always attracted towards the freedom movement because of the atrocities that the British government had on the Indians. So even Abhay Charan was also fully involved in the freedom movement and followed Gandhi's steps. So after he passed his BA exams, he was invited to appear for his diploma. But Abhay decided that he didn't want a diploma from a Scottish church college because he wanted to signal and protest in this way against the British rule, and it was also a signal to respond to Gandhi's call. That's why he refused to take the diploma education from that school, from that college rather. So in refusing his degree, was moving to align himself more closely with Gandhi's independence movement. That I just said, he was very attached to like all other people in those days were attracted to the freedom movement. But his heart was not in it. Just as he had never given his heart to college studies, to earning a degree, to his wife, so he was reserved about becoming a full-fledged nationalist. Now, out of school, out of work, caring little for his career, education, or wife, he remained at home. He tried his hand at writing poetry also for an occasion of a friend's wedding. He read Srimad Bhagavatam and the latest speeches of Gandhi. He had no immediate plans, but he needed to take up some work. So Gaur Mohan De's friend Karthik Bose, who had a pharma laboratory, agreed to keep Abhay as a department manager at his laboratory. So Abhay had a promising job and would be making the best of his marriage. Gaur Mohan had done what he could and he depended on Krishna for the ultimate result. Okay, now we will try to understand what happened when he met his guru, and then subsequently what led him to take up sannyasa. And even though he tried to do something in Jhansi, it was very significant. He tried to open a congregation just like ISKCON, but it didn't work. So that we'll take you through this with time permitting. Okay. So when Abhay met Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati at the insistence of his friend Narendranath Mullik in the year 1922. The Mulliks, as we mentioned in the last class, Mulliks were the wealthy merchant family who had trading in gold and salt with the English people. So they were a very wealthy people. So one of the persons from that family, Narendranath Mullik, he insisted that Abhay Dev come along with him and meet Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. But he was not very keen to meet any of the sannyasis because, as we told you in the last class, his father is to invite a lot of sannyasis to his home and ask them to bless Abhay Charan so that he can be a devotee of Sri Radharani and Lord Krishna. But somehow Abhay Dev was not attracted to this Swamijis and sannyasis. So on the same pretext, he didn't want to meet Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. So, but because of his insistence, he did visit his guru. Even as the these two Vaishnavas, Narendranath and Abhay Dev, were still rising after offering prostrated obeisances and preparing to sit, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur immediately said to them, "You are educated young men. Why don't you preach Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message throughout the whole world?" So even on the first meeting itself, his guru instructed him, "Why don't you preach Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message throughout the whole world?" Now this was a really surprise for Abhay. He could hardly believe what he had heard. That even if we were exchanging views, he had won over the sadhu's strength of conviction. But being a freedom fighter, he queried Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, who will hear your Chaitanya message? First, India must become independent to spread Indian culture. But his guru instructed him that and replied that Krishna consciousness does not have to wait for a change in Indian politics, nor it is dependent on who ruled or who is the boss. Krishna consciousness is so important, so exclusively important. So somewhere in any other, somewhere in else in his lecture, Prabhupada said that he accepted him as a spiritual master immediately, not officially, but in my heart. I was thinking that I'd met a very nice saintly person. For the first time, he met a sadhu whom he liked very much, and he felt that he met a very nice saintly person. So he told Naren while moving out from that place, he told Naren that the message of Lord Chaitanya is in the hands of a very expert person. He was very impressed with the Swamiji. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta's explanation of independence movement as a temporary incomplete cause had made a deep impression on Abhay. He felt himself a less nationalist and more a follower of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. He also thought that it would have been better if he were not married. This great personality was asking him to preach. He would have immediately joined, but he was married, and to leave a family would be an injustice. After his first meeting with Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Abhay began to associate more with the Gaudiya Math devotees. They gave him books and told him that the history of their spiritual master. Since childhood, Abhay had been a devotee of Lord Chaitanya. As Abhay eagerly read the writings of great acharyas, he had fresh realizations of the scope of Lord Chaitanya's mission. Now he was discovering the depth of his own Vaishnava heritage. But because Bhakti Siddhanta was often traveling, and Abhay was busy with his family and business, so to arrange another meeting was not possible. But Abhay was no longer interested in nationalist movement. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati had invoked Abhay's original Krishna consciousness. Sorry. Abhay had wanted to join the Gaudiya Math, but his family obligations stood in his way. In 1921, Abhay and his wife had their first child, a son. Abhay would have to find ways to serve the mission of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati as a family man. Abhay thought that if he were to become very successful in business, he could not only support his family, but also to help support Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati's vision of spreading Krishna consciousness. From the first encounter, Abhay was considered Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati his spiritual master, and Abhay began thinking of him always. I have met such a nice saintly person. From setting up business and making a living, Abhay moved from Calcutta to Allahabad, and from Allahabad to Bombay, and then to Calcutta to Lucknow, and again to Allahabad. And at different times he was stayed in all these places to set up businesses. But somehow or the other, each of his business didn't last for long. He was very successful in business, but his business didn't last too long for him to stay at one place. So he had to move from Calcutta to Allahabad, from Allahabad to Bombay, then to Calcutta, and next again to Lucknow, and finally to Allahabad. In 1922, his daughter was born. And during the same time, his father, his sister, and her son also came to live with Abhay. He even started taxi business with the Buick's car that he purchased. So it happened that even Motilal Nehru and Jawaharlal Nehru were customers of his pharmacy business. Pharmacy was growing. Abhay was traveling extensively throughout northern India. He always maintained 4 regulative principles. And he kept returning to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. His wife Radharani was a chaste and faithful wife, but she was not inclined to share her husband's spiritual interest. He could not convey to her his feelings for Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Then, towards his father's last days, he wanted to fulfill his last wishes. That was in 1930. His father's wish was that to donate a cow and a calf to the Gaudiya Math, organize Harinama Sankirtan at home, and feed the Vaishnavas. After doing that night his father passed away. On the day of Shraddha, the 13 days after Gaur Mohan Dev passed away, Abhay and his son had shaved their heads in accordance with the religious custom. Abhay with his shaved head looked like a renounced monk, just like his father as envisioned he would become. Abhay felt the loss of his father painfully. Abhay was a competent young man. He felt lost without his dearmost protector and friend, whom he had literally prayed for him to every holy man he met, that his son become a great devotee of Srimati Radharani. That well-wisher no longer was there, he was gone. So we'll come to his initiation, which is very important. Uh, on November 21, 1932, he received the good news from a devotees that at Allahabad, Gaudiya Mutt, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj will be visiting to preside over the ceremony for laying the cornerstone of Sri Rupa Gaudiya Mutt. Understanding that there would be an intimate ceremony, Abhay asked if he could be initiated. He was very keen on taking initiation from his guru. So Abhay knew that he would go forward and take complete shelter in the instructions of his spiritual master. So Abhay discussed his plans with his wife, who had no objection to his taking initiation. They were already worshipping the deity at home and offering their food to the deity. They believed in God and were living peacefully. Atulananda, the Mata's president, introduced Abhay to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, who immediately recognized him and was very pleased to see him. Yes, he said, exchanging looks at Abhay. He likes to hear. He does not go away. I have marked him. I will accept him as my disciple. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami conferred upon him the title Bhakti Siddhanta. But Sridhara Maharaja, however, thought it inappropriate to give Abhay the same title as their spiritual master, and he asked that Abhay's title be changed to Bhakti Vedanta. So Abhay accepted the title as a further commitment to his spiritual master of preaching Krishna consciousness. So at the initiation, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati was seated on a Vyasasana, and the room was filled with guests and members of Gaudiya Mutt. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur offered Abhay both initiations at the same time, signifying that Abhay was full-fledged disciple of Brahmana. So he added the name Aravinda, the meaning lotus to his name. Now he was Abhay Charanaravinda. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta instructed Abhay to study Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which outlined the loving exchanges between Krishna and his devotees and explained how a devotee can advance in spiritual life. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is a law book for devotion service. His sister and brother were present at his initiation, but his wife was not. Her idea was just to worship the deity at home and live peacefully. Abhay's idea was preaching. Over the next 4 years, he managed to see his spiritual master only a dozen times due to his business travels and preoccupations. He could not meet his spiritual master often. During one of his visits, he understood that the creatures of whenever Abhay met his Guru Maharaj, he always would be treated very affectionately. Abhay extended the process of initiation is mentioned here. Abhay extended his right hand and accepted the strand of japa beads from his hand of his spiritual master. He also received the Brahmanical thread signifying the second initiation. In 1931, as they walked together alone on the bank of Radhakund, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj conveyed the distress over the quarrel among his leading disciples in Kolkata. This is a very significant thing because even by learning from here, Bhakti Vedanta Srila Prabhupada didn't want to commit the same mistake that had happened among his broad brothers. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati conveyed the distress over the quarrel among leading disciples in Kolkata. Abhay felt that his spiritual master was speaking to him in urgency, as if asking him for help or warning him to avert a disaster. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj then said directly to Abhay, I had desired to print some books. If you ever get money, print books. So responding to Abhay's letter, somewhere later, 1936, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj instructed him to turn himself into an English preacher. This was the same message that Abhay received in 1922 during their first meeting. So he repeated that in 1936. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj liked to make disciples into sannyasis. He would send his brahmacharis out to Gaudiya Mutt magazines to sell magazines and books. And even if a brahmachari were to sell even one or two books, he would please him very much, and he would say, "You are very nice." He would say that a preacher would have to be a person must have life to be a preacher. A dead man cannot preach. And he would also say that if no one attended the meeting, his guru would say that that doesn't matter. The four walls would hear you. That is sufficient. Don't be disappointed. Go on chanting. Abhay preferred listening to his spiritual master at every opportunity, but rarely put a philosophical inquiry before him. To one question asked to his guru replied that don't try to see God, but act in such a way that God sees you. This is very significant because in most of his lecture, at least in one or two of his lecture, he had reported about his guru telling this to him. So that don't try to see God, but act in such a way that God sees you. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj departed from this world on January 1, 1937 at 5:30 a.m. Abhay felt all alone. His two great well-wishers, his father and his guru, were gone. But he felt grateful that he had received a special mercy, a final instructions, just 2 weeks before his spiritual master's departure. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami conferred upon Abhay the title Bhakti Siddhanta. Shortly after Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami passing away, differences appeared in Gaudiya Mutt. Litigation had begun as to who would be spiritual successor to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati had never called for one Acharya to be a successor. Rather, he had instructed the member of Gaudiya Mutt to form a governing body of 12 men and carry out the on a concerted effort. Same thing Srila Prabhupada also did. He also formed the governing body commission. Due to faction infighting and unscrupulous activities of certain sannyasis, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta's cause, a worldwide movement for propagating Sri Chaitanya's teachings, collapsed. So Abhay Deva was at a distance from a fray, was mortified to see that his spiritual master's instructions for cooperation has been disregarded. So under these circumstances, he could not carry out his spiritual master's order to preach. Also in 1938, his Bombay business diminishing, and at the age of 42, he moved back to Kolkata with his wife and family. So one night, Abhay had an unusual dream. His guru Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati appeared before him, beckoning him to leave home and take sannyasa. In his dream, he woke up in an intensely emotional state. So he was very much emotional and trying to understand what his dream meant. It was not something he could do immediately because he had to improve his business, and with the profits he could print books. He went on with his duties but remained shaken by the dream. At the same time, around 1945, the Second World War ended, and there were more business opportunities. He closed his small operation in Kolkata and concentrated on his Lucknow business. There are two interests he had to immediately look after: the family and the preaching, which were conflicting. His wife Radharani had never shown any interest in printing the book Back to Godhead. She seemed to work against his enthusiasm, both for publishing and for earning. He felt himself operating somewhat like the materialist he had criticized in his writings, absorbed in the struggle for existence with sufficient time for self-realization. Although his family made more and more demands of him, he was feeling less inclined to work for them and more inclined to preach Krishna consciousness. It was a predicament. In 1952, Abhay was at Jhansi. Now comes the place at where he tried to open a movement just like ISKCON. It was in Jhansi, in the year 1952. So Abhay was 56. He was 56-year-old. His commanding presentation for Krishna consciousness had not only impressed the young religious minded people for Jhansi, but also the older men. Abhay had returned to Allahabad, but the need for association of devotees and propagating the teachings for practice of Krishna consciousness worldwide was on his mind always. He left his farmer business to his son and nephew. Abhay's ambition was no less than to make the whole city of Jhansi alive with Krishna consciousness. So he started the League of Devotees, uh, which was very similar to what he later on came to prepare ISKCON. So he started a League of Devotees. He wanted to begin vigorous, extensive preaching, following the examples of his spiritual master. To establish the League of Devotees with a registrar in Lucknow, Akbar required a memorandum of association signed by the League members. In this document, which was to list the objectives of the society, Abhay expressed his vision for the continuation of his spiritual master's mission. The League of Devotees functioned from Bharati Bhavan, which was presented in charity by Mr. Reval Shankar Bhayal to Abhay Charan Dey, and further at Abhay's request, he also agreed to become a member of the League. The Memorandum of Association of League devotees filed on February 4th, 1953 at Lucknow. On May 16, 1953, grand opening celebration of the League of Devotees with continuous kirtans, readings and prasadam distribution from early morning until night. So this is very similar to what happened in ISKCON when ISKCON was formed. Abhay lectured on the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita and some Brahmanas chanted the Brahma Samhita. The League would publish literature in many languages and print a monthly magazine, Back to Godhead. The guests received 16 pages, 16-page prospectus containing Abhay's essence on the need for the League and an excerpt from the charter explaining its goal. Abhay had been in Jhansi for about 6 months when a telegram he got from his son that his business in Allahabad had been burgled by his servants. They were thieves and his own servants had done the robbery. Abhay's son Brindaban soon arrived in Jhansi requesting Abhay to come to Kolkata to revive his business. Abhay explained to him that he could not go back and that he dedicated his life to Sri Radha Madhava. Abhay appointed Prabhakar Mishra, who was a lecturer and medical officer at Jhansi, as a secretary to the League, and after several months initiated him. He was the first person in India who was initiated. In fact, he is the only person in India who was initiated by him. Thus, Prabhakar became Abhay's first disciple and gave him the name Acharya Prabhakar. Prabhakar, however, was not a completely surrendered disciple and he remained independent always. Abhay started Sankirtana movement in Jhansi. While preaching locally, Abhay was simultaneously working to give an international scope to the League of Devotees. He wanted to take it in an international level. But he did not have sufficient money and no help from the government agencies, not from his old colleague classmate Rupen Mitra, who he invited to join his worldwide missionary activities. He wanted a deed of gift from Reva Shankar Bhayal for formal ownership of the Bharati Bhavan by the League of Devotees, but he could not raise 5,000 rupees for the outright purchase of Bharati Bhavan. So Abhay moved to Kolkata and inevitably he was plunged again into family responsibilities. His wife wouldn't help him in spreading Krishna consciousness. In fact, she once traded his worshipable Bhagavatam for teas and biscuits. So that was the final nail in the coffin. So this made Abhay leave his family. His family life was finished. This compelled him to take sannyas later on. Mahila Samiti Sangha pressurized Mr. Bhayal to persuade Abhay Charan to relinquish his claim on Bharati Bhavan. Events and opinions were turning against him, against conducting a mission in Jhansi. It no longer seemed auspicious. He decided to leave. He told his friends to carry on the League of Devotees in his absence. This is where the League of Devotees came to an end. He felt very sad, but he felt he had no choice. He had come as a family man on business and was living as a homeless Vanaprastha, forced to take shelter of Krishna. His plans were uncertain, but his desire was strong and his health was good. So he moved to Mathura, carrying with him the deity of Lord Chaitanya. With this, we'll stop today. Next time, we'll take his challenges on what the challenge he faced while going to America and his voyage on Jaladuta. So any questions you want to ask, you want to correct something, you want to say something, you are welcome to say.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, can you please repeat the question and answers which will come for initiation, or which was discussed in the previous class as well as today at the starting you said, so that we will be familiar. And because I'm really nervous, what questions they will ask, what if I get rejected? That's why, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
You will not get rejected, don't worry. You will do good. Whatever is taught in the class, you please do what is been told in the class. That's more than enough. I think that you should clear it. However, what has been told to read, I suggest that you really go through that. I hope you have all the question answers that was asked. Just give me a moment, please. I'll open the questions that was asked last time. Yeah, I think some of the questions that I listed were asked. To be very frank, the book, the questions on the book of Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita was not asked before our interview. Before our interview, it was never asked. So it was the first time that they had asked about Prabhupada Lilamrita. For us, it was a new thing. However, we had read the book, so we could answer some questions. In fact, we answered all the questions except one we could not answer, where the location where I could not answer. So some of the questions that were listed were, what are the events that you remember about Srila Prabhupada's childhood? You can note it down, or I can also put it on the WhatsApp group. So just now we discussed before the class. I think you joined late, if I'm not wrong. So we can discuss once again now if you want to recap again what we discussed last class. The childhood events of about Srila Prabhupada, or events about the journey about Jaladuta ship, or what challenges he faced on landing in America, and how did he attract the devotees. This can be one of the questions. These are asked in fact. So the two questions commonly asked during our time were, what were the two instructions that his guru gave him, and the location. So that one we discussed that in just at the start of this class today. And some questions were asked were, tell us something about Srila Prabhupada and his life. These are some of the likely questions that could come. Some of the years, the significant events took place that they will ask. The year he was initiated, the year he took sannyas, the year he traveled on Jaladuta, the date and year he traveled on the ship Jaladuta. All those things you should know, because they'll ask these questions pointedly. His birth, the year he took his appearance year. We asked in the start of this class. 1st September 1896 was the year he appeared on this earth. That you should know. 1922 was the year he met his Guru Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj the first time, and he got initiated in 1932. That you should know. In 1952, he formed in Jhansi, he formed a group for similar to what he formed later on formed ISKCON. He tried to do the same thing in India. He could not do it, so he tried to do it in India. He could not do it. He went abroad and he was successful in doing it. So all those names you should know, which are very important to understand. Otherwise, it becomes difficult. So there's a sequence you should know in these books. If you read the book once and if you understand the class, I think that's more than enough to understand. I hope they'll not ask any other questions other than what we have been taking up in this class. I'm taking a little deeper also. We don't have to take that deeper, but what happens is you'll know the sequence what led him to take sannyas, what led him, what are the activities he did in India which failed, and what happened when he went abroad and he didn't repeat those mistakes. That's what we were trying to learn.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So after taking sannyas, then he left for America, right, Prabhuji?
Yeah, he took sannyas at the age of 56. but he left India at his age of 69. So he tried in between. He tried a lot. In Jhansi, I was just telling in Jhansi, he tried to make a congregation just similar to ISKCON, which he made later on, but initially made in India, which was called the League of Devotees. In Jhansi, in 1952, he made, and but he tried to register that in 1953 in February 4.
Okay, Prabhuji. So League of Devotees also he tried after sannyas only, right?
No, sannyasi took in 56. This happened in 52. He was initiated in 32. He had initiated, but he took his sannyas in 1956. But before that, uh, he tried to the League of Devotees. He tried to do it in 1952.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, two times this happened, right? Srila Prabhupada's translation got stolen and damaged. One first time was by his wife, and the second time was in New York, right? When he was sharing a room with someone, he got something
Correct.
psychology, and he tried to attack Srila Prabhupada, and he stole typewriter, his
Correct.
translation. So he had to translate again from scratch, right, Prabhuji? All
Correct.
the Bhagavatam translation.
In today's world, you can always store in the computer and edit and do that. But 50 years back, it was not easy. He had to type, and every error correction they have to type it once again. So they didn't have those luxuries. So you can imagine how much of trouble he has taken. If you read the book, you'll realize what all he went through. I was amazed. I read the book again yesterday to take this class. I'm trying to make this PPT. I was trying to read his book again, and I read it before, but you can imagine the amount of trouble he has taken just to preach Krishna consciousness to the world. It was not easy for him, and at that age, even he was discouraged by the owner of Scindia Shipping, who ultimately gave him a free ticket. But she discouraged him vastly because America has been a very, very cold place. She thought that he will not be able to survive the cold. Secondly, all the people in America, they are not inclined towards devotion, and it will be very difficult for him to preach. She thought India is a much better place to preach, but he was very keen, and he took his Guru Maharaj's instruction very seriously. And when obviously this all these elevated people see something, only then they advise. He must have seen something in Srila Prabhupada and advised him to take this message of Lord Chaitanya abroad. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been possible for him to take so much of and have firm determination to go abroad and teach. Because we all benefited. Otherwise, we wouldn't have benefited. There is not other question other than this topic. They will also ask Guru Parampara disciple succession. I hope all of you know that. Are you are aware of that? They'll ask, can you name the Guru Parampara? Hare Krishna, am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
Prabhuji.
the Guru Parampara, are you all aware of the Guru Parampara? The first, from the bottom, there are 32 of them listed. The last 5 of them are always on our altar. The 32nd in the line is A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Above him, at 31st position is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura. At 30th position, above him is Srila Gaurakishore Das Babaji. At 29th position is Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakura. And at 29th position is Sri Jagannath Das Babaji. These 5 are on the altar. You can see we have to keep on our altar as initiated disciples. We have to keep them on the altar. But they will ask you a little more than that. If you're able to tell up to Lord Chaitanya or Madhavendra Puri, it will be very good. So there are about 12 of them, 12, 13 of them. You can remember. I can just tell you again. So above Jagannath Das Babaji, it is Vishwanath Chakravarti. And above him at 26th position is Narottam Das. whose appearance day was today. At 25th position above him is Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami. At 24th position above him is Raghunath. At 23rd is Rupa Goswami. At 22nd is Lord Chaitanya. And above him is his guru was Ishwara Puri at 21st position. At 20th position was Madhavendra Puri. At least so many names you should be able to tell if they ask. So this is one of the questions that was put. In fact, most of the people got this question, so I think you should also learn this. It's not very difficult to learn because the first 5 we all know. Above them is another 7 you can easily remember and remember for the initiation interview.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, and those 6 Goswamis are also important, right? Which are there on the altar.
Correct. The 6 Goswamis, I put them in the WhatsApp chat. You can also remember them. They're very simple. There are only 6 of them. So if anybody remembers, you can, if you want to, you can tell as a practice. You can tell. You know the 6 names.
Actually, Prabhuji, I
Srila Rupa
just.
Goswami.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hare
please
Krishna
go.
Prabhuji.
Go ahead.
Sanatana Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami, then Gopal Bhatta Goswami, then Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, and Jiva Goswami.
Correct. So 6 of them, they'll ask these names because we are supposed to know along with this Guru Parampara names. So, and our Guru Maharaj mantra and the meaning of it. English translation you should know. Or Srila Prabhupada's Pranam mantra and his translation you should know. So all these things we are supposed to know. In the morning aartis, all of them they'll ask along with the meanings. Some paragraph meaning they may ask you. So if you're attending the morning 4:30 Mangala Aarti, it will help you in memorizing because they also chant. You can also chant along with them. And the English meaning you can learn. And Shikshashtakam you should know. Shikshashtakam is if you're not knowing, you can start memorizing that along with the memories, along with the meanings and the translation. You can learn from now on. You got some enough time, so it's good time to start doing all this right now. So it will help you.
Yes,
We
Prabhuji.
can
Thank you
memorize.
so much, Prabhuji.
Sorry.
Sorry, Prabhuji, to interrupt. But Prabhuji, this Canto 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam is also important, right, to read, Prabhuji?
Correct. Canto 1 is very important. You should have read it at least once. And out of that, at least 2 or 3 chapters, they'll ask you. They'll ask you 1 or 2 maximum. But if you prepare for 3 or 4 chapters about what are the sequence of events in that chapter, it helps because they asked almost everybody. Have you read Canto 1? So if you say yes, they'll say okay. Which is your favorite canto, or which of the canto you want to talk about? So you can take one of them and explain to them what is in the canto in short. In chapter, any one of the chapters. There are 19 chapters in Canto 1. You can take any one of the chapter and try to be expert in that and try to explain to them. We had done about 3 or 4 lesson chapters after that because anyone they can ask. If they say okay, other than that we answer something else. If they say if they repeat, they can ask you to answer something else. So you should be prepared at least 3 or 4 of them. It will help you. So some of the chapters are very simple. Some of the chapters which are very simple, you can easily take them up and do. If you want us to take the class, we can also take a class and explain to you what happens if and what is to be learned and what has to be told against each of the chapters, that we can take it up if you're interested.
Yes, Prabhuji, interested. Yes, Prabhuji, please. Because I wanted to read, I started reading also, but later I lost interest. I don't know why I'm doing like that. At starting, I put so much of enthusiasm to read it, finish it, Srimad Bhagavatam, but later I do laziness. I don't know why it happens to me.
You should not lose your interest because this is very interesting. The first canto, in fact, the whole of Bhagavatam is very interesting. If you read it one after that, you can come to know the sequence and how nicely it's written and how nicely explained also. So when it was asked to me, I explained to them about the 18th chapter. The 18th chapter is Maharaja Parikshit cursed by a Brahmana boy. It's a very simple chapter. You can easily explain to them about the sequence that happened, why Parikshit Maharaj was cursed by the Brahmana boy. It's a very simple. In about 6-7 sentences, you can complete the whole chapter. And if any questions asked by them, you can always answer, because some names are very important of the Brahmana boy and his father, and what led to them the boy cursing the king Parikshit Maharaj. How Parikshit Maharaj took it in his stride, even though he was cursed to die in 7 days by a snake bird. So he took in his stride. He handed over his kingdom to his children, and he walked into the forest to understand what a person should do, what a person dying should do in his last days. He wanted to understand that. So he met Sukdev Goswami, and that's how the whole of Bhagavatam was written. So that's how this first canto ends. That's how you must know this. It's very interesting to understand, because the whole Bhagavatam was narrated to Parikshit Maharaj by Sukdev Goswami. So there are about 19 chapters. We can take one of them, each one of them, and try to understand in few sentences. Each one of you can, whichever chapter interests you or you want to take them up, you can take them as your favorite lesson, and take it in your initiation course. But it's better to know all of them. But out of that, you can choose 4 or 5 of them, which is your favorite ones, and you can explain to them in the interview. We can summarize all of this again and again, just for you to go through it. It will help you a lot. But at the end of the day, all of you have to read, because ultimately you have to give the interview. So you have to read, and reading, nothing can substitute reading and understanding. All the mantras and the artis and all you should know. Only then you'll be able to have the confidence of taking the interview. So I assume, I'm not sure. I assume that you have at least 1 month to take. Assume that you have 1 month or 30 days. You can do a lot of things in 30 days, and go ahead in your devotion service.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, through Vedabase, I will continue my reading. And also, just day before yesterday, I just completed that summary of Srimad Bhagavatam. In that, I got to know at the last part what happens with Maharaj Parikshit. I assumed that after getting 7 days of Srimad Bhagavatam lecture, of listening from Sukdev Goswami, later on he might have got a snake bitten and he died. But I got to know that he asked Sukdev Goswami that, can I leave my body? And then he left the body. Right, Prabhuji? That's the power of Srimad Bhagavatam, right?
Correct. He's elevated devotee anyways. So he's not an ordinary person. He was saved by Lord Krishna in the womb. So he's not any ordinary. So he's a very highly advanced devotee. So these are all the pastimes of the Lord for us to all to learn from. That is why these events have happened. Last
Hare
week
Krishna.
you asked a question about marriage age. I was just, after the class, I was just
Yes.
thinking. Prabhupada has mentioned that the first 25 years you should be you should follow the Brahman, this one, Brahmacharya ashram. Okay. So next 25 years, from 25 to 50, you should do Grihastha ashram. From 50 to 75, you should do Vanaprastha, and from 75 to 100, you should do Sannyas. So that answers the questions at what age you should marry is 25 years of age, because then that's when somebody will enter into Grihastha ashram.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have just 2 questions. May I ask?
Please go ahead.
Prabhuji, why did Srila Prabhupada choose Jhansi? He's from Kolkata, right? Why Madhya Pradesh? I think so, Jhansi, because in his mother tongue over there he would be more successful, right?
Correct. So see, what happens is, you see all over if you read the book thoroughly, he was always short of funds also. So whenever he wanted to do anything, he was, even the small magazine, a few pages magazine was Back to Godhead. Even that he could not print because of lack of funds. When somebody used to give him money for 1,000 copies, he used to do it for a year, and again he used to short of funds, and again there was no printing for some few months or years, and then again somebody used to fund him, and again he used to do that. So everything was related to the money, and he didn't have enough of them. So to start in anywhere in Kolkata, it required a lot of funds. But in I think in Jhansi, there was a place called, what Bhavan was that? Bharti Bhavan. Bharti Bhavan. Okay. Bharti Bhavan was given to him by one person who was his friend, Reva Shankal Bhayal, who offered him that formal ownership of Bharti Bhavan, so that he could start the League of Devotees there. That is why he went to Jhansi. Got the point?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, and my last question is, Prabhuji, I understand that birth, old age, disease, and death is a part of life, but still, I'm really scared of old age. I don't know why. I chant, I do properly, bhakti, yoga, everything I do. But still, this old age really scares me. Even after looking at our Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj, what he's suffering, being a devotee, if he's suffering like that, then what am I? I'm such a sinful person. What will happen to me when I grow old? So that scares me, Prabhuji.
Yeah, have you met him? Have you met him in person, Guru Maharaj?
No, not yet, Prabhuji. Just watch his videos. And also one continuation question, Prabhuji. I don't attend any lectures of. I have not watched any lectures of Jayapataka Swami, but I watched lecture of Gauranga Darshan Das Prabhu, Gauranga Das, or Govind Krishna Das, who are very young and energetic. So, am I doing cheating, Prabhu? That I'm taking initiation from Jayapataka Swami, but I'm watching lectures of other gurus. So, am I doing cheating? Am I doing something wrong? Is it okay if I do like this?
No, you're still listening to the parampara, people who are in the same lineage, so there's no problem. But you should hear. Don't you hear Srila Prabhupada's lectures?
Yes, Prabhuji, I attend, I heard his lectures, but not of Jayapataka Swami, but of other Guruji, Prabhujis. So I was feeling guilty. Am I doing something wrong that I want my Guru Maharaj to take all of my sins, but I'm not listening to him. I'm listening to other people, other Prabhujis. So I was feeling that guilty
I'll answer
in my
your
mind.
question that way. See, our Guru Maharaj Jayapataka Swami, he has a app, Jayapataka Swami app. If you got Android phone if you just type Jayapataka Swami app, it's got app. So in that he gives a lot of instructions. He talks about his travel plans. He gives lectures. Every time there is a link to his lectures, so you can hear him very closely. And coming to the point of his bodily discomforts, uh, we were very blessed to have his association in Mangalore, as well as when he was in Mumbai for 15 days in the first 15 days of this month. So, we all hear that we are not the body, we are the soul. If you really wanted to understand, if I wanted to understand, whatever time we spent with him in Mangalore as well as in Mumbai, you really understand what is the meaning of we are not the body, we are the soul. Because in his own words, he cannot do anything without the help of his servants, what they call servants, his disciples who are very close to him. He cannot stand on his own. He cannot do anything. Even the brushing of his teeth is done by this one. But never, ever once in any of his lectures, in any of his class, he talks about his bodily challenges. Never. He never tells that. Keeps on preaching, even though when he speaks, he coughs. He coughs because one half of his is paralyzed. So other part, he talks through that, and because of that, he keeps coughing and all that. He still continues to talk, and he's so enthusiastic to preach. See, he'll put everybody to shame, everybody else to shame by listening to him. So he'll understand what the adage that he said, we are not the body, we are the soul. If you keep on associating with such high level devotees, you really understand what it means. So your fear, whatever fear we have, will all vanish if you really have association. And I'm telling you, I'm not exaggerating. Just by association with him and his close associates who come with him, it is amazing to even tell, because I can't put it in words. It's so great to hear him and be associated with him. So in Bombay, we have to travel more than 1.5 hours in the traffic to be associated with him, but we never felt even once, because we were so happy to go in during office time, office hours, to be with him and be associated with him. That is why I said, have you met him? You know, if you meet him, you realize what a great soul he is, and how to understand that we are not the body, we are the soul.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
So, is there any question in the chat box?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Can you please say the Guru Maharaj Pranam mantra along with translation, Prabhuji?
Guru
Can you give?
mantra along with translation.
Yes, Prabhuji.
You want it again? Just give me a moment. I'll take the exact word, because I don't want to give anything wrong. Just give me a moment, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
The translation is very important. You know, you should not. I didn't want to twist the word here and there. That's why I went to check my book. I got the book with me. So it says, Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Iti Namine. So this is the four lines, which the English translation is: I offer my respectful obeisances to His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. Now we should not refer His Divine Grace to him. His Divine Grace is only referred to Srila Prabhupada as a mark of respect to him. So I offer my respectful obeisances to His Holiness Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet. So this is the meaning of the first four lines. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Iti Namane. The next four lines: Nama Acharya Padaya Nitaya Kripa Pradayane Gaura Kata Dhama Dayanagara Grama Tarini. This is the continuation of that, and the English translation of that is: I offer my respectful obeisances to His Holiness Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, who is dedicated to serving the wishes, instructions, and lotus feet of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and the previous Acharyas. He is freely distributing the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu and distributing the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, instructions, and transcendental abode. He is preaching Krishna consciousness to all the inhabitants, both in villages and towns, thereby freeing them from conditioned material life. This is the meaning of the Guru Maharaj Pranam Mantra.
Prabhuji.
So we can see till initiation happens, we can always have these classes to revise. Any other class you want to repeat, you can always instruct. Somebody else should take it. If not us, somebody else should take. But we can always put it up to the temple team to take this, repeat a class, or you want to have some revision, we can always do that. So I think after this, this may take about 1 or 2 more classes. After which we can take up the canto 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam, and try to understand each chapter in a few in short, we can understand. Any other questions you want to ask? About any doubts you can ask, and you can come up with your own questions about which class you want to repeat, or you want to have a revision of which class. You can do all of those again as per our convenience.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, that Canto 1 Prabhuji, because it's important for initiation, right? Alone, I'm not unable to do it.
So after
That's
this, Prabhupada Lilamrita, we'll straight away go to Canto 1. I will tell the temple team of in Mangalore about this. From Canto 1, we can start taking in the 19 lessons, chapters one after other, so that you can also read and be prepared for that. That's okay?
Yes, please, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anybody, any other question? Okay, there's no question. We can end the class today. Thank you for joining. It was great to have your association. Vancha kalpaturu brasya pipa sindhu cha eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Anantapoti Vaishnavendati ke Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you for joining.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
We'll meet next week
Hare
at the
Krishna,
same time. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you very much.